Hi guys, it's Ruth, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about just what it was like and why it was precious to me to be able to see this, see the fetus after he came out of me. So, yeah, I mentioned before that I had prepared a small box to put him in while we were in the hospital. We weren't sure if our kids would want to see him or what, so it was good to be prepared. So I have that box here to show you. So this is just a small little gift box. My aunt had given it to me when I was pregnant with my first child, which is about over 8 years ago. And it had a hand embroidered ornament inside of it that she had made herself that had the Chinese character for mother on it. And so it was kind of this symbol for me of this transition into motherhood, and it just seemed really appropriate to be able to use it again for this case. So we kept him in the box in some plastic for the duration of the hospital stay, and then we left him at the hospital. I put him into a different box and told the nurses. I'm not exactly sure what their procedure is since he's so tiny, but since we live in an apartment, I don't have the ability to bury him or do some of the different things I know friends have done in the past. Yeah, and so as far as seeing him myself, I've kind of thought about that, like why was that important? Why was that so special to me? And I think it has to do with a couple of different things. One is that when you're pregnant, until you can feel the baby kick and move, you don't really get to experience the baby themselves. You get to experience the effects of pregnancy, the nausea, the tiredness, all of those things, but you don't get to experience the miracle of that baby himself. And so to be able to see him, it suddenly put a literal face, right, onto this baby that I had lost. So he was about 2 inches long, about 2 knuckles big, and he was right at 10 weeks developed. And so, his ears were in the correct position on his head, and he had 2 eyes and a nose and a teeny tiny little closed mouth. He had 10 beautiful teeny little tiny fingers and 10 teeny tiny little toes. He had all the parts of him that made him a baby, right? Even though he didn't necessarily look like a baby that is full term, it really made it real, and I think that helped me to accept the gravity of what I had lost. And so, while it's difficult, it also was healing and helpful for me to just grasp who he was. I think it's absolutely incredible. He was 10 weeks developed, but actually what that means is he was only inside of me for 8 weeks, because you track pregnancy from the first date of your last period, but you don't actually conceive the baby until 2 weeks later. And so just to be able to see his tiny, perfectly formed little body and features that had grown inside of me for 8 weeks was really incredible and miraculous to see. At the same time, it was really difficult to see how perfect he was and just not know what about him wasn't perfect. Why did he stop growing? Why did his heart stop beating? And, there's no way to know those answers, and, I've come to deal with that. But that was a struggle with seeing him. But the ability to really take a piece of beauty out of such a difficult and hard thing was, it helped me to not just have awful memories, for it not just to be this horrible experience that I went through but for me to be able to accept the loss that I had, and the life that had been growing in me for a few weeks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.